Up until this point, we've covered what has essentially been reality on this channel. With the exception of one video, I've gone through multiple cases throughout the world that were factual and have evidence or research to tell a story for whatever the case is I decide to cover. Today we're going to dip our toes in something I've only done a single video on before, an alternate reality game. Alternate reality games are a story medium that allows us as players to interact with the story, to influence it in different ways via the media source that it's showcased on. Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. Someone's made a game on every single one of these websites, always with the purpose of telling a good story. Whether they succeed or not, that's an entirely different story. I'm pretty late to the party with this one, but I still find it interesting enough to cover. If you have not read the story already, there will be a recap portion pretty much over the entirety of this video series, as this will only be part 1. I highly suggest that you pause this video, read it for yourself to support the creator Aiden Elliott, and then come back and we talk about it here. Link to the story is in the description, and the spoiler warning starts here. Now grab my hand, and let's go into the dark again.
Help. It's late in the morning and it's still dark outside. I can hear the tornado sirens in the next county over, but the weather radar is clear. Where's the sun?
These were the opening tweets from April 30th, 2018, when an account surfaced on Twitter with the name TheSunVanished, or TSV for short. The account owner was in a state of panic and confusion because it was midday and the sun wasn't in the sky. Many replies to the tweet stated that there was no issue and the sun was indeed still clearly in the sky, but he decided to check the news on TV, only to find this.
This afternoon, panic is taking hold on the nation in response to the sudden disappearance of the sun, with violent riots taking place in just about every major city. We are receiving an influx of reports of ransacking and looting from New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Dallas, and Washington, D.C., with hundreds more isolated incidents coming in hourly. The president made a public statement this morning urging people to remain calm and stay in their homes. Meanwhile, experts are claiming this phenomenon to be an event similar to New England's Dark Day in 1780, and that things will return back to normal.
It wasn't too long before he began hearing loud noises, screaming, and even gunshots. After a quick Twitter poll, his followers convinced him to go outside and see what he can find. Make a note of how the lights changed after he supposedly had been seen. It's kind of important for the story later. After running away from the light that began following him, he hides in his house, even noting that more of the lights are stalking others in the streets outside. He's unnerved, the power's out, and he keeps hearing a loud droning noise over his house. The most interesting part about this is that he notes that the air feels warmer. Almost as if whatever it is heating the planet up. Immediately after this, he's contacted by his friend Danyan, who was a childhood friend of his. Danyan says he's going to make his way to TSV until TSV notices this. Someone has been apparently standing outside of his house with their back facing him, and they haven't moved for hours. Daniel notes not to make any contact with him, and if TSV sees any more flashing lights, that he needs to hide. The man disappears, but only to reappear trying to get into TSV's house. TSV arms himself, and while he waits for the man to leave, he starts trying to get into contact with others to find out what's going on. A man from British Columbia actually gets in contact with him, stating to not look into the red lights or he'll become like the man that was trying to get into his house. Daniel messages TSV telling him he has to stop for the night while searching for fuel and rest. TSV even considers driving out to him, but soon abandons that plan after he starts to hear screaming. Narrowly escaping, he reminisces with Daniel about childhood and then gets contacted by another account owned by a man named Tucker. Tucker recounts how he had gotten away and hid with his friend. Unfortunately, his friend turned corrupted somehow and was killed by Tucker after he tried to attack him. We know Tucker is part of the story though because he is followed by TSV, as are some others, but that's for the next part. Not long after, TSV begins to hear banging on his door again. And this time, it's gotten inside. TSV survives and decides he needs to set up traps to alert him so that doesn't happen again, and to ease his paranoia about someone breaking in. He then received this message from the British Columbia man, and if you enhance it, it looks like a man, but with a camera for a head. After a nightmare, he wakes up to more screaming, but the microphone he has doesn't seem to pick it up on his phone. He and Daniel get into an argument over trust, and he's running low on everything. He even notes that he started drinking water from the tap. The screaming hasn't stopped, and his paranoia is increased, so he decides to investigate the neighbor's house, only to find it empty. He decides to try to contact Tucker after he left this cryptic tweet, and actually makes a startling discovery about the water. The water from his house is a lot darker than the one that he has at his neighbor's. It looks like someone might have been messing with the water supply. TSV then hears the vibration noises again, and he manages to capture an image of what he thinks is making them. He then goes dark for a bit before posting about a similar blue light to the one Tucker's seen under the crack of the door. He can hear the scream of someone in pain before he finds out there's a dead body lying in the street. He finds a few journal entries detailing someone being corrupted by the red light, saying that they can see the sun again as Tucker tweets out that he is actually still alive. And then the knocking starts again. TSV avoids this woman for a while when he starts hearing gunshots and a car horn. Just as the woman is about to get to him, he gets a message from Danyan that says he found the house and that he's outside. TSV sprints to the car and they get away. After this, the story goes on a little bit of a hiatus, and before we continue, we should probably recap everything we learned thus far. A man has created an account that appears to be some kind of creature invasion storyline. The creatures aren't just killing humans, they're also corrupting them using some sort of machines to turn them into mindless slaves. They need to draw them out in the world to either be killed or converted, so they tamper with the water supply in hopes to draw them out. As far as the machines, there are 3 different types of light associated with them. There's the harmless white light, the corrupting one, and a lethal blue light. There are ships flying around the world, potentially keeping the world warm and from freezing over. Somehow, other humans are still alive though in some capacity. And the fact that this story is only beginning is incredible to me. In the next part, we'll dive into what I think could be a theory playground involving aliens and a possible government conspiracy in the wonderful world of TSV. I really enjoy this story, and I hope you guys have actually given it a look already. If you have, write down what you think might be going on so we could discuss it in the next part. There will be a link to the account down in the description below, and as I mentioned, before the next part, you guys should really catch up, because there is a lot of reading to do. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a lovely night. Be sure to stay out of the dark tonight, and sweet dreams.